Pelosi's on a roll here. Pelosi calls out 45 State of the Union address as a pack of lies. It should have been full of shit, State of the Union address, because it was like all I said lies amid the Democratic frustration. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi privately told Democrats on Wednesday that 45 State of the Union address was nothing but a pack of full of shit lies, and she felt very liberated by ripping up the pages of her speech on national television. The California Democrat, in a dramatic gesture after 45 finished speaking on Tuesday, shredded a copy of his words while standing on the dais behind him. On Wednesday morning, a visibly irritated Pelosi told her colleagues in a closed-door meeting that she was looking for one page I could spare that didn't have a lie on it and couldn't find it, and she had no regrets about what she did. He disrespected the chamber he was in to use it as a backdrop for a reality show to give a speech that had no connection with reality at all. It was nothing but a pack of lies. About a quarter through it, I thought, he's selling a bill of goods like a snake oilsman wool. We cannot let this stand. Multiple Democratic officials in the room described her comments speaking on condition of anonymity to talk frankly. Pelosi's clear frustration comes as 45 has experienced perhaps one of the best weeks of his squaddency. He is the third squatter to be impeached and has been the subject for 6 months of intense scrutiny for pressuring Ukraine to help him politically. Yet his approval ratings have risen to 49%, which I don't believe. The Republican-led Senate is poised to acquit him on 2 charges of abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. Meanwhile, Democrats were still scrambling after the chaotic Iowa caucuses Monday night, in which the party has been unable to declare a winner due to vote counting rules. The inconclusive outcome leaves Democrats with a jumbled mix of candidates and no clear frontrunner to take on 45 in November. 45 turned his primetime speech into something of a reality show. He gave out a scholarship to a young black student. He reunited an Afghanistan-based military sergeant with his wife and 2 small children, and he awarded conservative commentator Rush Limbaugh with the President Medal of Freedom, which he didn't deserve. 45 also used his address to take credit for the nation's economic success, which he has nothing to do with, criticized Democrats on immigration policies, and claimed that he would protect Americans with pre-existing health conditions, but doesn't have a plan in place for it. The performance irritated Democrats who have worked for more than a year to try to hold 45 accountable, only to see his numbers rise in recent weeks. But Pelosi and her caucus were even more upset because 45 claims some of their policies as his own, even though his administration has pursued the opposite. Pelosi complained to her colleagues, telling them that we saw the squatter of the United States shred the truth right in front of us. In fact, she reminded them 45 is in court right now trying to end Obamacare. He's taken away disability benefits from people on Social Security, and he's dismantling Medicaid. She, like all of us here, are generally horrified by the pack of lies that he told last night. Said Representative Jim Govern, who's a Democrat from Massachusetts. I mean, he says he wants to protect people with pre-existing conditions, but he has no options to. He's been spending 3 years trying to take those protections away. Look, we need to remind people what his record is and the fact that he is just a pathological fucking liar. Indeed, Pelosi's fury resonated with her members, who gave her a standing ovation. Like Representative Louis Frankel, who's a Democrat from Florida, argued that the State of the Union was no venue for a political campaign, and that the Limp Dick Award was basically a nutcase. I don't think it was planned. It was a planned moment, said Representative Andy Levin, who's a Democrat from Michigan. But when he was talking about Pelosi ripping up the pages, but her instinct for where the caucus is at airing, it did capture the way people are feeling. The rising tensions between Pelosi and 45 come as House Democrats find themselves at a crossroad. Do they continue investigating a squatter that they believe was trampling the Constitution, despite voter fatigue on probes and impeachment, or do they slow their investigation and try to refocus their energy on policy issues that resonate with voters 9 months from now? Democrats often say they can do both, but they're also dogged by a reality that any 45 investigations overshadow everything else in Capitol Hill. Pelosi's leadership has signaled a desire to focus on policy. House Democratic Caucus Chairman Hakeem Jeffries, who's a Democrat from New York, and Representative Catherine M. Clark, who's a Democrat from Massachusetts, used a weekly news conference to discuss a host of legislative proposals that had been stalled in the GOP-controlled Senate. And yet impeachment investigators also say they have a duty to keep digging on 45, probing his financial interests, allegations that he used his office for self-enrichment, and that he obstructed justice, which he did. As he left the caucus meeting Wednesday morning, House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jared Nadler, who's a Democrat from New York, said that Democrats would likely subpoena former National Security Advisor John Bolton, who details in a forthcoming book that 45 told him he was leveraging military aid to Ukraine on investigations of his political rivals, the allegation at the heart of the House impeachment charge. Other Democrats, however, have cautioned that no decision has been made. Nadler argued to reporters that Democrats needed to continue investigating the Ukraine matter and the broader probe into the 2016 campaign despite the pending Senate acquittal. I think when you have a lawless squatter, you have to bring that to the fore. You have to spotlight that, said Nadler. You have to protect the Constitution at whatever political consequences cost. Between investigating and legislating, Democrats appear generally torn. The Democratic split screen was on full display within 30 seconds of one another in a news conference Pelosi's lieutenants held after the morning caucus. As far as I'm concerned, the shredder wasn't available, and so she did what she needed to do, Jeffries said of her ripping apart 45 speech. A few breaths later, he pledged to keep working with the shredder. We are going to work with 45 whenever and wherever we can on behalf of the American people, but disagree when we must, he said, suggesting the shredder's values would decimate the middle class. Representative Richard E. Neal, a Democrat from Massachusetts, chairman of the Ways and Means Committee, is slated to continue negotiating with administration officials on financing a massive infrastructure bill later this week, but said Tuesday's speech roiled those waters. I think that the State of the Union also ought to be a call to purpose, and last night I think that there were a few specifics, and in fact I thought that he walked back his comment to infrastructure last night. He told reporters, could he keep working with 45 on infrastructure? I doubt it. Neal said it would be difficult, that's for sure.